I listened to John Motson commentate on a game between Grimsby and Millwall when both sides were vying for promotion to the second tier. They were in the third tier. Our very own Phil Coleman was in the side. Unfortunately, the recording of that game, the sound was too poor to pull it through for you. But John passed away this week, and we send our sincere condolences to his family and friends. R.I.P. John Motson.
Hey, I'm Jade Keogh.
And hello from me too, I'm Grace Seeley.
We both play for the Millwall Lionesses and are sponsored by the No One Likes Us talking team.
Why not sponsor one of our teammates just like they do?
To find out how, just email
kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk.
I'll say that again.
kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk.
In your email, say who you want to sponsor and we'll get back to you with the sponsorship details and what to do next.
This is all you have to do and it will help us to get back to where we belong. Thank you, guys.
Now, enjoy our Millwall fan show from No One Likes Us talking team.
Come on, Mir.
Bethany Warren here, and you've joined us for the weekly Our Millwall fan show with the Millwall No One Likes Us talking team, which is broadcast every Friday evening. Enjoy!
Another hat-trick for Bradshaw in front of the cameras this season. A great 3 points against the Blades, plus inflicting their second defeat in a row. And another good point against table toppers Burnley too. I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Dave Hart, Stan Godwin and Myles Thornton.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Evening Dave, evening Myles, evening Stan. How are we all?
Evening Eamonn, you okay?
Oh, yeah, all right, Eamonn.
Good, yeah, I'm okay-ish. And yeah, hopefully I'll be okay all through the show. Anyway, what a game at the Den versus the Blades. 12 shots on goal, a penalty denied, definitely denied, and 5 on target. A 5-goal thriller that the Millwall won. And if that was not good enough, Tuesday night saw a great point at home in a 1-1 draw against Vincent's Company's table-topping Burnley. And the first question I'm going to put to, I think, Dave, is that 1-1 draw. Were you disgusted at how the Burnley players acted up in that match?
Yeah, it was awful, especially the player that was injured and was off the pitch, and Ashley Barnes went up to him and was literally telling him to roll back on the pitch.
Yeah.
And it did just that. I mean, the referee should have booked them both. It was absolutely terrible. They need the quality they've got in the side. There was absolutely no need for those theatrics at all.
No, that one with Twine after McNamara was another one. And people were saying to me, oh, we should have signed him. Rowett could have signed him. And I thought to myself, well, I don't really need another actor hanging about in the side. What do you reckon, Stan?
Well, yeah, but somebody's always going to turn around and say, oh, well, we could have signed him and all that. I mean, in some cases, there's just no satisfying some people. But no, I mean, I thought the game I thought was good. The only thing that bothered me, I mean, I have to say this. I mean, it's true to say that on the good side of it all, yeah, we come out, we battled well, and all this, and which is fine. We battled okay. I've got no problem with any of that because, that's what people want to see. I mean, I remember Kenny Jackett always used to say, it's for the players to bring the crowd into play, and they certainly did that. Right, but so for all them parts, that was all good. But the downside to me was for the first 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, all we were doing was when the ball was being played back to the goalkeeper, Longy, he kept knocking the ball long. And the moment it got down the other end, it went to one of their players and back it come yet again. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I don't mind it. We want our teams to go out and work for the point and whatever, give blood for the shirt and all the rest of it. I've got no problem with that, but we just seem to have this incessant problem of making it more difficult than it needs to be. Because,
one of the points that I'd raise with you, he's long by name and now he's long by nature. And perhaps he needs a bit of re-education in that department. Let's see what happens next. Myles, tell me about the 5-goal thriller against Sheffield United and another hat-trick by that man Bradshaw in front of the cameras.
Obviously it was a good game, and I think Tom Bradshaw was on fire, and I think anyone that doubts him, even before that game, anyone that doubts him is. I saw something on Facebook the other day, and someone said he was a League 1 or League 2 striker, and I just don't agree with it. I don't know how people doubt him and how people don't think he's a good striker. I really don't.
Unfortunately, they doubt every member of our team, and I think they do it attention-seeking process. But let's put that all behind us. He turned out, albeit a bit worn for wear, with a couple of bruised ankles, and still managed to score the equaliser against company side. So let's see that if he can do some more, it would be wonderful. Anyhow, we'll leave that where we are. We'll talk about what's coming up a little later in the show. But before we listen to Debbie Julians, here is Paul Owens from Fisher FC, otherwise known as the Fish.
Hi, I'm Paul, a Millwall and Fisher FC supporter. There's always been strong links between our clubs, and as such, Fisher FC would like to remind Millwall season ticket holders and supporters club members that entry to watch Fisher is just a £5 if you show your card at the gate. Our next home games in March are on Saturday the 4th versus Lawswood, Tuesday the 7th versus Sutton Athletic, and Tuesday the 14th versus Deal Town.
Well, that's a nice touch from Fisher. Thanks, Paul. Right, we'll take a break there and be back with our first guest this evening. But for now, let's listen to Debbie Julians talking about our sponsor, G&M Motors.
Our Millwall Fan Show is sponsored by family business G&M Motors of Gravesend and Meopham in Kent. They are Millwall fans too. They've been Honda dealers for over 50 years. At G&M Motors Gravesend, you can purchase a new Honda. At both Gravesend and Meopham, they have a combined range of over 150 quality used cars and ex-demonstrators to suit all budgets and lifestyles. They also offer a comprehensive range of repair and maintenance services to ensure your vehicle stays reliable, safe, and retains a higher value with trust. G&M Motors, Gravesend and Meopham are dear friends of the Julians family. From Lenny to Debbie, and also our Millwall Fan Show.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Dave Hart, Stan Godwin and Myles Thornton. Many thanks to our sponsors G&M Motors of Gravesend and Meopham. Our first guest was Wallsend born, a place that many young lads joined the boys' club and became footballers, such as former Lion Ian Bogie and our current captain Sean Hutchinson, and most famously, although he never played for us, he played alongside Teddy Sheringham in the SAS team, Alan Shearer, and tonight's guest, who went on to play as an England youth international and played for Newcastle United from 17 years of age, making 67 appearances from the Magpies in all. In 1988, he joined the Lions in a $300,000 deal, making 118 appearances, scoring 10 goals, and he kept the bench warm on a further 14 occasions. He left us in March 1993 for Brentford and had further stints at York and Hartlepool United before hanging up his boots with over 500 games behind him in 2003. He didn't leave football behind and started coaching at Hartlepool, Norwich, Huddersfield Town, Blackpool, and his last known appointment was assistant manager at Kilmarnock with the former Northern Irish goalkeeper Tommy Wright as his boss. Without saying any more, let's say hello, Paul Stephenson.
Hello, hi guys, how are you?
Hello, Paul. You okay?
All right, Paul.
Yeah, good, thank you. Good.
That's good. They're all behaving themselves. Well, we're looking forward to hearing from you too. But before I hand you over to the panel, you have kept yourself busy in football since hanging up your boots, Paul. Tommy Wright reigned at the Killies for less than a year, and I suspect that was when you departed as well. What is your current situation, Paul?
I'm just sort of put in between jobs, really. Looking for the next gig. I've had a couple of offers that haven't been quite right, and hopefully getting the right offer very soon. I think it's just around the corner, so I can't disclose anything, but I have got one offer on the table. But yeah, it's just a case of you don't want to jump into something that's just not right for you. You know, Kilmarnock was a really good team, actually. I mean, we had a 60+ win ratio. We only had one window to try and change a squad of 17, 18 players. So we felt we were on the right track. But sometimes chairman and people in charge just get their itchy feet and decide they want to change things, and you don't get a chance to finish your job. So we're disappointed with that one, but you never lose confidence. You always keep believing in yourself and you move on to the next thing. So
well, we look forward to hearing what that is before too long, and I suspect you might get asked a question a little bit later about such matters. Anyhow, here's Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Hello, Paul. Dave here. Can you remind us about the move, your move to Millwall, how it came about, and was there any interest from any other teams at that time?
Yeah, I'd had a bad injury at Newcastle, which I still think to this day probably did take a bit of pace off my game, and I had to come back from a really bad ankle injury, and Newcastle I was on a week-to-week contract. They didn't offer us a new deal, so I said, right, I'll not sign what you've offered is, but I'll go on a week-to-week and I'll prove myself. So I come back quite strong from the injury, which I think surprised myself and a few people. And I got back in the team, and I was keeping John Henry out of the team, who they'd paid $750,000 for. And I went on a great run, played really well. And they still hadn't come across with anything, so obviously I was there for grabs. And there was a few clubs like Barnsley at the time who were in that division or just below. And Millwall came and knocked on the door, and I just felt disappointed that Newcastle, even though I was back in the team and proving myself, didn't come across with anything. And so I was listening to offers, and Millwall made us a great offer. Didn't talk any money, anything. John Doherty came up on the train the next day, met me and my dad at the hotel just outside the central station in Newcastle. And we just sat and talked about football all night. He sold the club to us. He sold Sheringham and Cascarino up top to Ian for, because I could cross the ball with both feet. And that was it. Then next day we went down. We sorted out the financial side of it and the deal itself, and then that's it. We moved very quickly.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because that obviously my debut ends up being against Liverpool, as you all know. But a week prior to that, I'd went before I started talking to John and Bob Pearson. I'd been to Anfield with Newcastle, and against all odds we beat them 2-1. So, like I always said to the lads, there's nothing to fear here, lads. We beat them, so sure Millwall can. So I think we all went into that game with a lot of confidence because the lads were playing well at the time. So yeah, So it was a quick turnaround, and it was. I was glad I did it because it was a great time in Millwall.
Paul, Stan here, mate.
Hi, Stan.
You joined us under John Dockey, as you've already said, and Bruce Rioch followed, and for a short time, the late Bob Pearson, before your final manager at the Den was Mick McCarthy. How would you describe your experiences with each one of these people?
Yeah, Doc and Frank had a good relationship with. They were real old school sort of managers, but they had a really good atmosphere. It was quite relaxed, and I enjoyed my football under them. It was an exciting time for the club. We're punching probably way above our weight, especially when we lost a couple of our key players, as we all know, and it was it was great. It was the excitement around the ground. It was a good time to be at Millwall. I think under Bruce Rioch, it was a little slightly different times. Obviously, we got relegated, so that was difficult. And although Bruce was probably not somebody that we all would like to go on holiday with at any time, I actually think I played quite a lot under him, and I actually enjoyed the type of football he played. I think we did play some exciting football at times, and it was attacking. He did have a lot of focus on getting it wide and a lot of attacking football. He just was like a difficult bloke to play for. You could be playing brilliant and he would treat you like you were a leper, and then when you were playing crap, he'd treat you like you were his son. So you were quite confused at times, So I think a few of the lads found that, but yeah. And under Mick, I played obviously with Mick, and I had a good spell. Mick made us a totally decent offer. I took bad advice of my agent, who I ended up sacking, and ended up leaving again on a month to month with from Millwall to Brentford. But I think in hindsight, I wish I'd signed that with Mick, the offer that he made us, and I think it would have been exciting to play the football that they played. But obviously Mick changed the whole system after that when he didn't have the white players, and he went into a diamond with all midfield players, and it worked very well for him, I thought.
Yeah.
So.
Myles here, Paul.
Hi, Myles.
Hi, okay. You were still a young man when you joined us, arriving in South Bermondsey at the Old Den. Must have been quite an experience. What did the environment feel like, and what players inspired you for your further development?
It was different, I must admit. It was difficult. I think it was difficult initially to actually just get in settled. I found the first few weeks is okay, because you get swept away with it all, and you're buzzing. But I think it did take us a while to really settle in, because I was staying until I could get some my accommodation sorted. I did stay with Bob Pearson, who lived in Slough, so I was doing a hell of a lot of travelling. And you got to remember, I was a lad who lived probably 15 minutes tops, be 20 minutes on a bad traffic day from the training ground in Newcastle. So it was very easy every day to just get into train and go and train and get home, get your feet up. Whereas I felt like all of a sudden I was doing like 3 or sometimes 4 hours if the traffic was bad, round trips to get, after training before. So it was difficult. But once I got myself settled into Welling, which wasn't too far, and I was round the corner from Alan McCleary, it was almost like I felt like a new person again. I felt like I got my legs back a bit. So yeah, it was difficult to start with, but then once I got settled, it became a lot easier. Just the players. I think the players that we had at the club, they were not just very good players, they were very good lads. They were dead down to earth. They made you feel very, very welcome. They took the piss out of my accent, which is obvious, as though they couldn't understand the word I was saying. but they probably couldn't half the time until I mellowed a bit. But yeah, they were good. You know, I like me golf, so I ended up playing golf with Kevin O'Callaghan, Brian Horn, and Teddy. So we had a little fall ball there that we used to play quite, you know, on my days off, and it made it a lot easier to settle in, and you know, just playing with them lads who went on to great things. Some of them, you know, it was a pleasure playing with them.
Yeah, later on, Paul, you were loaned out to Gillingham, and it was under Mick McCarthy. What was that like? And did you feel at that time that your Millwall days were coming to an end?
I didn't. I mean, I didn't want to. I'd been playing first team football most of my life since I was 17, so I didn't want to be just playing reserve team football because I wanted it to be competitive. It wasn't competitive enough for us, to be honest, and I got the opportunity to go with me dear friend and the late Glenn Roder down at Glenn was just starting out in his management career down at Gillingham. In the fact that it was just down the road, you know, it was from Welling, it's only down the A2. Even though it was a couple of divisions, it was still competitive. It was a challenge in a sense because they were rock bottom adrift at the time. And Glenn said, come down for a month, get yourself going again. That'll do you good. And it did. I ended up playing there for 3 months, and they became what a good run. We got well clear of the relegation zone. And I did hold hopes personally that I could go back to Millwall. I think Mick came and watched us a couple of times, and I did play well. I did hold hopes that I could go back to Millwall and get my career going again. But I think by then the club had moved on, and Mick had moved on with his systems, and he wasn't particularly playing with white players as much, like I said earlier. And then Brentford came in, and again, it was a case of, you know, do I go back to playing reserve team football or just get myself across the road to Brentford and start playing again? Yeah, it was a bit disappointing, but again, went to Brentford. Actually got injured. Had a groin injury, so I didn't even play like the first season I was there, and they got relegated again. And then I played with David Webb, and David Webb was brilliant for me. Absolutely, just loved him to bits. He got the best out of us, and then I had a good couple of seasons there. Yeah, so hope that answers your question, Myles.
Stan here again, Paul.
Hi, Stan.
Your coaching career is quite something. Can you talk us through how it has progressed and explain your reasoning in not becoming a manager?
I was obviously coaching while I was still playing. So while I was still playing in Hartlepool, I would still do two nights, starting off with under 11s just to get organised, just to get a bit of experience. I started with under 11s at Newcastle. Alan Irvin was the academy manager. Had a good chat with us. Just said, look, you know, gives you a great understanding of the game. It'll do you. He'd put us with a guy who was really well organised to help us get the organisational side of it. Because obviously as players, all we know is playing, you know, and then I went from there. When Newcastle, I was still playing the Hartlepool. I did the 14s, and then the 16s, and then when I finished playing my career, because my knee sort of gave way on us, my right knee, at Hartlepool. By then I'd got my licences up to my A licence, and I got the job at Hartlepool United with the under 18s. Loved that. Had some good lads. So like Gold made quite a few made progress in the first team, and you know, contributed well to the club. And then from that, I got an opportunity to go down to Norwich with Glenn Roder. Went down as sort of development coach initially, but I was working with the first team. Glenn said, you know, assistant first team coach with Lee Clark, who was first team coach and assistant manager, and took the first team with them. Got lots of work, which was lovely. great experience working with senior players, and I think once you get to work with senior players, you do get the buzz again. If it's not quite playing, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
And yeah, I loved it. And then from there, Glenn lost his job at Norwich, and we all did. And we ended up Lee had got the Huddersfield Town job by then, and went to Huddersfield. It became first team coach there with Derek Fazakli, and took the training. Derek tended to do defenders. I tend to do attacking players, and in unit work, and had a great time there. Obviously, I think we had a good. Lee's record there was as good as anybody's who's been at the club since. We had the unbeaten run of 43 games, which was good. But again, it's like every job, you always get sacked, don't you? So we got sacked there. I mean, I've been back to under 23s with Middlesbrough. Had some really good boys there. I had the lad Spence, I had the lad Tavernier, who's doing well at Bournemouth. And quite a few of them lads playing league football, about 6 or 7 of them, Lewis Wing, Luke Armstrong, George Miller, all them playing, which I thought they would because they were good lads. And then I went back into the seniors with Tommy most recently, and loved it again. You say, why haven't you been manager? I think sometimes just getting the opportunity. And I think it happened with sort of Derek Fazakli, who's been a fantastic coach and was a mentor of mine. When you've been assistant so many times and you've been like a coach, I think people just pigeonhole you and straight away think, that's your role. I think had the right opportunity come and I got the chance, I would have took a chance at management. But I still think I'm well suited to the roles I've done, and I really do. I do enjoy working with a really good manager. Tommy was excellent. They all have that. I think every manager has that. That the goods and the bads, and you get to learn them, and you get to work with them. So, but no, had some great roles, and had a lot of fulfilment seeing young players, especially going on to do some great things,
Paul, just to sort of expand it a little bit more, as an example, the working lives of managers and assistants in the Championship so far this season has been perilous, to say the least, right? 14 out of the 24 clubs are already making at least one change, and 4 clubs changing twice already. Yeah. Sure, I mean, I take the view that, if clubs want to be successful and supporters want success at their clubs, then stability is the key word, because if you're not stable, then it's just chaos. The lunatics end up running the asylum, so to speak.
I totally agree.
So how do rebuilding within the rules? Is that the right way ahead? And what's your take on why all this is happening?
I just think people panic. They see where they are on the table. I mean, you look at. I worked at Accrington. I went in. I got. That was another role I did after. That was a role I did after Huddersfield Town. Liam Richardson took over from Paul Cook. He was asking Derek Fazakli if there's anybody he thought could help him as assistant. He needed somebody experienced. Derek recommended me. I ended up going in there, and we stayed up, which was great because we had the smallest budget the year. And then the year after we finished like 16th with the smallest budget in the division. So it just people panic, and they don't. They know the cost of everything and the value of nothing. I think that's the problem. And they don't understand that it does take time to build a squad. I mean, we had a fantastic squad at Huddersfield, but it took us probably 3 or 4 windows to get rid of some of the ones that we didn't want, who were long contracted to the club. In half of it isn't just getting in your players; it's getting the ones that you know are detrimental to what you're trying to achieve. It's trying to move them lads on, and it's not easy. It does take time. I mean, I think that was the thing that would disappoint with my last job was at Kilmarnock. We changed 17 players in one window, and I think we were third in the league, 4 points behind top with a game in hand, and we'd not used half our budget, and everybody else had sort of peaked on theirs. So we knew second half of the season we were going to be really strong. But again, people panic. They just see the table. They listen to a few fans who are disgruntled. But I think every club's got disgruntled fans. I just don't think they have a good time at home, most of them. They just like to take it out on the bloody managers. But you look at now. You look at the job Gary's doing at Millwall. I mean, great example. I think he's probably had a couple of times where people have questioned him, but the fact that he's been there, a good while now. Is it 3-4 seasons now? He really understands.
The only thing I say to that in terms of Gary Rowett, and it depends whether you take a lot of notice of him, but you look on social media, and it's all gone quiet at the moment, but but the first time we get defeated and they're off again, Rowett out and all this old carry on. And I think in some cases, personally, they're not going to be satisfied until he's gone.
Yeah,
that's their thought process. Nonsense.
Yeah,
nonsense.
And if you look at the job he's doing, it's he's done an amazing job, hasn't he? With what he's got compared to some of the teams in that league who have got like absolute, bundles. They've got so much money, they've got so parachute payments and all that, and quite wealthy football clubs. So he's done a fantastic job, I think, and to have them sixth at the moment in the league. I look last off fifth. They've got a tough little run in. I had a look the other day, but I still think they've got a good chance. I mean, they can beat anybody at home, and I think they're always going to be a team that nobody wants to play. So I hope they can do it. It'd be great to see them get back in the top flight.
Oh yeah,
Paul. Nice. Myles here again.
Hi, Myles.
Hiya. What is your most memorable game in a Millwall shirt?
It's a tough one, that. Well, I think a lot of people would probably think me, Dave, because it was a special day for us. It certainly has to be that one or the West Ham one where I scored a cracker as well. So, because of the size of the games and against who they're against, I think probably it would be hard to pick between them two. There were two games I really, enjoyed playing in. Just for atmospheres, I think when you're a player, you just want to play in the best atmosphere possible. I think it should bring the best out in you. And it's certainly harder when there's none at all. I know that for sure. Probably them two games. I would say, just the whole day for me on my debut at Liverpool was outstanding for everybody. I think me parents travelled down, me girlfriend, and I think it was our first taste of being in the Millwall end, and they loved it. They just said they were just like Southern Geordies, to be honest, just absolute crackerjacks. So I think they got on like a house on fire, So, no, it was great.
Well, I'd vote for the West Ham game, but that's for obvious other reasons. But there you go.
Yeah, true.
Remember that was a good game. Yeah. Anyway, Paul, it's never enough time to get all our questions to you. But as you do know, it's a tradition on the show for our guests to give a score prediction ahead of our next game when we head to the Bet365 Stadium to face Stoke City on Saturday. What do you reckon?
What do I reckon?
Yeah.
Well, Stoke can struggle at home, I think. I'm going to go 2-1 Millwall.
Well, that'll suit me down to the ground, although they did worry me when they turned over Swansea in the week 3-1.
Yeah, I did see that. But was that away from home?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, they tend to struggle at home. I don't know why. Even under, I know Michael. I played with Michael, the previous manager, and even under Michael and the manager before that, they just always seem to draw or struggle at home. So let's hope they continue their struggles Saturday. So can I just give, before I go, a quick mention to Dave Donovan, who you had on the show about a year ago?
We continuously speak with old Dave. So
yeah, well,
please
Dave,
do.
I am stopping at Dave's on Saturday evening and Sunday evening. He's kindly letting me and my wife stay there because we are obviously going to Wembley on Sunday to watch the black and white. So, great thank you to Dave and his family, Sandra and the kids. So, looking forward to seeing them just as much as seeing Newcastle at Wembley. So,
well, there you go. Enjoy.
Will do.
Thanks, Paul, for coming on.
No problem.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Stan, Myles and Dave. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Much more.
Cheers, mate. Good luck to Sunday.
Cheers, thank you.
And we'll get you back before too long. Take care, my friend.
Thanks, Eamonn.
Bye.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Paul Stephenson, what a lovely man. Eh? That was a great chat about his coaching career there. We'll take a break there and listen to what Bethany Warren says about an evening with Roy Lana.
On Tuesday, the 14th of March, ahead of our game against Swansea City, Roy Lana, who is known for his gallantry at London Bridge in confronting 3 machete-wielding terrorists who murdered and caused mayhem in the area on the night of June the 3rd, 2017. He will be at the Lions Centre in Ballina Road from 5:30pm. The Lion of London Bridge books will be available to purchase, and Roy will sign those books ahead of the main event at 6:15. Our very own Jeff Burnige will then host Roy in discussion and bring questions from the floor. You can hear the story of Roy's hurt, reform, and his ongoing fight for compensation. Arthur Kitchener, singer and songwriter, will also perform Roy Lana, the Lion of London Bridge. The evening closes at 7:15pm to allow fans to get their seats for the match. For tickets, contact k.bennett@millwallcommunity.org.uk. So let me say that again. For tickets, contact k.bennett@millwallcommunity.org.uk. And on the night, please make a donation if you can to the Harvey Brown MPS Society, who support families with MPS and similar disorders that cause a range of progressive disabilities.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have No One Likes Us talking team of Dave Hart, Stan Godwin and Myles Thornton. Roy underwent rehabilitation following recovery from his physical injuries, quoting that he struggled with the people that did what they did that night to him. Listen to Jeff Burnige and Roy Lana explore his rehab amongst many other matters at the Lions Centre ahead of our game against Swansea City. Let's hear from Ellis Barr.
Ellis here. Thank you for watching my videos. Now to hear what the Millwall Lionesses and Romans have been up to, and to hear who is next up for Gary Rowett and the Lions. Come on, Millwall!
Yeah, come on, Millwall. Well, we have news from Millwall Pride. We also have news from Jeff Burnige about the Lionesses. So let's start with Jeff.
This is Jeff Burnige reporting on Millwall Lionesses. Millwall lost their derby match with Ebbsfleet United by 2-1 yesterday. Otisha Charles opened the scoring for Millwall, but Amelia Woodgate equalised before half-time. Both goals were of the highest quality, with Charles's run in from the left, finishing with a fantastic shot into the top left-hand corner. Another great run by the Ghanaian international Otisha Charles resulted in another shot on 23 minutes, which crashed off of the crossbar. Woodgate's equaliser on the 40th minute was against the run of play, but the second half became a little scrappy. Then, on 71 minutes, a defensive mix-up for Millwall presented Woodgate with a tap-in for the 2-1 lead. There were no further goals, so the points went to Ebbsfleet. The Lionesses had a much better time in their academy teams. The under-18s reached the semi-final of the Capital Cup junior session with a brilliant 2-0 win away to Actonians. Melissa Jones scored the first from the spot, then Chloe Jardine added a second before half-time. The under-16s drew 1-1 away to Leicester City in the Junior Premier League. This game was played at the wonderful training facility that Leicester City have. So all in all, a mixed weekend for Millwall. Next Sunday, the Lionesses senior team will be at home to table-topping Worthing, again at St Paul's at 1:30 kick-off. The Lionesses will be looking to avenge last defeat, which was their largest for 18 months.
Yeah, that was Jeff reporting for Maritime Radio on Monday morning. Dave, you get along to St Paul's occasionally. The first team don't seem to be ripping up the trees at the moment. They have 8 games left and are 8 points behind league leaders Worthing, who they face on Sunday. Can you see them winning, and can they make up the deficit in points to challenge for promotion?
Yeah, their form has dipped over the last 3-4 games, and it's been a bit disappointing. But football's a funny game, and when you play the top of the table team, I think with the right mindset, they can overcome Worthing, which will bring that deficit down, and then there'll be 7 games left and only a 5-point gap. So everything's still there to play for. It really, I think their season will depend on what happens on Sunday. So if you can get along to the game, they need all the support.
Yeah, they do. Stan, the younger sides are playing out of their socks. Can the academy hold on to them, or will they suffer the similar fate of a number of players who have left the men's academy?
Well, you would like to think so. The academies and the kids in the academies, I mean, in many respects, are, for clubs like Millwall, their future, and but you've always got to be careful, I think, because with some of these kids, I mean, they're academies, and then they start getting, or their parents start getting talked to by other clubs, and sometimes they're sort of promised the earth. Well, you've got to be mindful of all that, because you might be, Carlos kick a goal 1 minute, and all of a sudden you go off to this club, and it's not happening for you. Although you was led to believe that it might be. I mean, look at the kid who left Millwall and went up to Glasgow Rangers. You ain't heard of him since. As far as I know, he ain't been anywhere near the first team up in Rangers. So no, I mean, hopefully, our record is for an academy or academy kids is pretty good, and they're doing it all now, and it's operating a lot more professionally than it used to be. It all looks promising, but you can never tell. And even if they go to another club, it don't always work out, and. Sometimes I think they probably regret leaving Millwall in the first place, But also, somebody once said, sometimes these parents take kids and treat them as meal tickets, and there's there's always that in your mind.
I suppose that's less likely with the women's game in the way that it is, because the national sides aren't being paid phenomenal money. So unless we've got someone who's going to turn into a star, I can't quite see that happening. We'll catch up with Millwall Pride now and listen to the manager, Andy Dolan.
So we won't mention the scoreline. We don't want to talk about that, especially as it was against Charlton. But what I would say is super positive about the day was that we struggled for numbers in the week because we're carrying a few injuries at the moment, and a couple of people were away with other commitments. And we managed to get a bare 11 out, fulfill the fixture, Even though like 3 of the lads were carrying injuries, one of them was really struggling with his quad the whole time. Somebody brought his brother along. He'd not played football in a long time. The keeper that we had has only ever played 1 full game of 11s. So, you know, it was a little bit of a rabble this time. But everybody stayed super positive with each other, really supportive. You know, we all went for a drink after and had a laugh about it. So that was the big positive of the day for me, was that, you know, we built a little bit of a story, a little bit of community spirit, and it'll all add up over time. And a funny thing to note is we now have the team at the top of the league and the team at the bottom of the league across our 2 teams. So you can really see the breadth of the inclusion, being that we've got a lot of very strong, good footballers who want to be competitive and try to play to the highest standard they can at this level. And we're also providing a space for people who are either struggling with fitness, or they've not played for a long time, or, you know, some of us just aren't as good as others at football. It's just part of life. But everybody's getting game time and enjoying it, and, you know, joining a community and being part of it. So that's the positive story I'm telling myself after this weekend.
Well, Myles, you now report on the Romans and Pride. Can you let us into the know about what happened and the standings in the league, and your thoughts on that result against Cheltenham? Or did Andy give us a picture that painted the reality, considering their challenges?
The Romans remain top of the league on 33 points and 6 points clear. They didn't play on the weekend, but Millwall Pride did. Obviously, Charlton, who are chasing down the Millwall Romans at the top of the league. The Pride team remain bottom of the league on 2 points.
Never mind. Yeah, that was sounded like it was a challenging day for them, but so many players missing. Well, you never know. Let's hope, as I say, that all of our teams get the success that they deserve. Anyhow, we move over to when Saturday comes. We face Stoke City, as we mentioned to Paul Stephenson, at the Bet365 Stadium for a 3 p.m. kickoff. For us, the influential Billy Mitchell, Mason Bennett, Callum Stiles, Tyler Bury and Sean Hutchinson are all set for lengthy spells on the sidelines. Although Sean Hutchinson did get back in training this week, but is unlikely to feature. Of course, we've got Oliver Burke, who's had some illness, and now I saw yesterday that not only did Oliver Burke have that illness, but it appears he shared that with Adomo Imaku, who was on Thursday suffering the same problem. Anyway, the Lions beat Stoke at the Den 2-0, with both goals coming from Cresswell back in July. I think you'll all remember that. Their form has been inconsistent, and they have been plagued by injuries, like many sides. Of late, the Potters have been bedding academy players into the first team with some aplomb. However, last 5 games have returned 2 wins, 2 losses and a draw. And in particular, their away win at Swansea by 3-1 lifted Alex Neil's side 9 points clear of the drop. Since that result, the odds on a Stoke win have shortened to 7-5. A draw is 2-1, as is a Millwall win. Dave, what do you reckon?
Well, I think Paul Stephenson said it. Stoke are a team that are a bit inconsistent at home. They do play better away. So I'm just hoping that trend does continue, and that we can just get through the game. We've got to just tick these games off. They're coming fast and furious now. Our running's not exactly an easy one, but I think we can take a win on Saturday, and I'm going to go for a 1-0.
Okay. Stan, what about you?
Well, yeah, I mean, with regards to Stoke, I mean, as it's been said, they are inconsistent at the moment. And, I mean, I remember reading before the start of the season, and I don't know how they come about coming to this conclusion, but they seem to think that Stoke was going to be up there as one of the contenders for promotion. When I've seen them, I mean, I've never been that impressed with them, to be honest. I mean, all right, we've got certain players missing, but they were missing the other night, and they were missing on against Sheffield United, and it has to be said on both occasions. We seem to handle that situation quite well. So, you know, I'm confident with the players that we've got that we can get a result. But the only thing I would say is that my view is that once that to me, we have to be running the game from the first minute. You know, we mustn't let these teams get into the stride, especially when they're at home. You know, we got to go there and we've got to set the pace. If I'm confident if we do that, and then having done it, keep the pace going. So we're dictating the course of events. Then I think that I'm confident we're going to pick up 3 points. But you know, on paper, there's no reason why we shouldn't do that.
Prediction? Prediction, Stan?
2-1.
Lovely. Thank you. Miles, anything to the contrary?
Yeah, as Stan said, we need to go there and set the pace, and I think we will win. I think if we can beat Sheffield United and draw against the league leaders Burnley, who are flying in the league and have scored 64 goals this season, I'm sure, you know, we can beat a team who's 17th, but it's a Millwall thing to go and lose to Stoke. you know, but I think we'll win, and I think it's going to be a 2-0 comfortable win.
Okay, thank you, guys. I'm not going to speak for too long about our trip to Luton because the shape and face of our team can quickly turn and change. But we do face them at Kenilworth Road. First time this season. Remember, this game was before Christmas, but we didn't quite manage to get it played. We sit on equal points with the Hatters, but have one more game than them. They're at Birmingham City on Saturday. Last time out, they lost to Burnley at home. We didn't, by a solitary goal. However, the odds for a Luton win are 13-10, a draw is 2-1, and Millwall win is 19-10. So I'm going to go in reverse order. Miles, what do you reckon? Just a prediction, please.
They're good. I'm going to say 2-1 Millwall.
Okay, and Stan?
Yeah, I'll say 2-0 Millwall.
Great. And Dave?
I'm going to go for a 1-0.
Well, it's wins all round at 2 away games. That's quite positive, and I look forward to see what the results are when they come in. We'll take a break there and listen to Bethany Warren talking about how to sponsor or donate to the Millwall Community Trust.
The work of the Millwall Community Trust makes a big difference for people in Lewisham, Southwark and North Kent. Times are getting tougher, and to help them make a difference, you can help too, by making a donation. Give a one-off donation or a monthly amount. Your support is crucial in raising vital funds for their work. Or by fundraising for them. If you are running, swimming, cycling, cooking, dancing, parachuting or anything else, why not do it for the Millwall Community Trust? Interested? Then either email inquiries@millwallcommunity.org.uk or phone 0207 740 0503. I'll say that again. Email inquiries@millwallcommunity.org.uk or phone 0207 740 0503. Thanks if you can.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Dave Hart, Stan Godwin and Myles Thornton. If you can do any of those things that Bethany mentioned, it will go a long way to support the Millwall Community Trust in meeting the needs of the community. Our final guests tonight are Bob OluKoya and Millwall Community Trust Tim Sells. They're here to talk about the progress of Bob's son, Nifemi, from the Millwall Community Trust Pathway into the Millwall Academy. Welcome, Bob, and welcome, Tim.
Evening, all.
Thank you. Hi.
Evening.
Hello, you okay?
Yeah.
Evening, all.
Thank you.
That's Andy. They've all spoken to you, which is a bonus, I think. there you have it. Look, before I pass you to the panel, I've got a question for you, Tim. Can you explain briefly what was the route that took Nifemi from under the wings of the Millwall Community Trust into Scott Fitzgerald's Millwall Academy?
Yeah, of course. Nifemi joined the Pathway very early after we had set it up. I was actually coaching his age group at first, and it was clear to see he was a talented young man. As the sessions grew, Paul Harbert, who is one of our coaches, took over Nifemi's age group and was also very impressed. So, although Nifemi has ability, it was his nature and his willingness to learn what really struck us both early. With academy football, it's about being a good learner as well as having ability, and Nifemi has both. There was obviously room for improvement, young player, so we worked on those aspects and often had dialogue with Bob about it. Barbara also operates as a scout for the academy and decided to approach Barry Dunn about Nifemi. Barry, if you guys don't know, is head of recruitment, and he often invites us into the club scouting meetings so we know what players they're looking for. Paul told him that Nifemi was obviously talented and he needed to have a look at him. And so he went in on trial and obviously impressed like we knew he would. We've been operating now for just over a year, and we've already put in about 13 players in for trials, and we hope a few more are going to be signed very soon to join Nifemi.
Great.
Hi, Bob. It's Dave Hart here.
Hi. Hello.
Just a quick question. Can you tell us what brought both Nifemi and yourself on a journey to and with the Millwall Community Trust?
Okay. Thank you very much. It was actually not planned. Okay. We were just playing for Fleet and also for the JPL team called PSA. And then a friend of ours, a family friend, Phil, sent an email and said, "Oh, Bob, you've always spoken about Millwall. Millwall has a trial going on for the academy." I said, "No, don't think it will be for the academy. Millwall is not going to send email out like that." Well, anyway, Millwall is down the road from us. We live in SC13. Okay, let's go try out. But we were thinking, we're not going to be able to get in because we didn't get the email direct. When we got there, we met Tim, explained to him that we just got this email from a friend. He said, yeah, come on, get on there. Let's see what you can do. And then that was how we started. And then I keep telling Nifemi, this is an opportunity for you. Don't bring anything back home. Give 110%, keep playing every Friday. We keep going. And he keeps playing for the Saturday team and the Sunday team alongside. But we were really keen that he impresses team and Paul and everybody else, keeps giving his best. And then all of a sudden, we heard that the academy are going to come to do some scouting, which they did. I don't think the first time anybody got in, it was so competitive, but we keep, Paul in particular and team said, listen, just keep trying. It was very close. Okay, guys, just keep trying. And we kept on telling him the same thing, and he keeps trying. And then all of a sudden, we got an invite to come to the academy for trials from Tim and then from Paul and then later from Barry. And the rest is history now, We're over there now and trying to stay in there and progress.
That's a good bit of information, that, about his journey. Yeah, good.
Yeah, well, sorry to cut in there, boys, but yeah, as Bob said, you could tell straight away that Nifemi was always giving his best, you know what I mean? And that's something that we look for as academy coaches is it's that mindset as well. So he had ability anyway, but mix that with the mindset, and you've got yourself an academy player. So we said, Barry, look, although the scouts come down before and said, look, he's knocking on the door, but we don't know if he's quite right. We said, look, you've got to take him in and have a proper look at him. So when he did go in, all credit to Nifemi, banged in a few goals, and that's where we are now. So.
Well, let's hope that door's opened and he's going to go forward and make a name for himself.
See him out of the den soon, hopefully.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Some years to go, yes.
Yeah.
All right, Bob, it's Stan here, mate. How did Nifemi progress to become a member of the Millwall FC Academy? What did he do?
Well, the first thing was to go over to Kidbrook. He got invited to the Kidbrook Lane training ground. Okay, and of course he has to go through the motions. I think it was supposed to be for 8 weeks. Okay, but based on referrals from Paul and team and the rest of the team and Sean, I think he was given game time very early on, and it must have impressed the coaches. And within a short period, they made an offer to us for him to join them, and that was it. And of course, it's a different standard, different level. It took him a week or two to settle into the pace, into the physicality, and the talent level that was there. But he eventually settled in, and we make sure we never miss any training, never missed any matches, always, going and giving all the best. And the coaches out there too are very helpful, giving feedbacks, regularly and telling us, especially Barry will call me aside, after training sessions or after matches and say, you're a football man, you should tell Nifemi to do this, tell him to be stronger, tell him to, shield the ball a bit more, and all that. And, that was good because it shows that, they have an interest, they took particular interest in him and they want him to succeed. So, it's been good so far. It's been a short while so far, less than 2 months.
What is his position, Bob? What positions he play?
He's a striker. He's been a striker all through his young career. So, but he could also play on the wing. He could also support the striker, So he's kind of versatile. Yeah.
He's scored a few goals as well, hasn't he, Bob?
Yes, he has. But I keep telling him that is not what matters. What matters is that the team, perform well. And if you have an opportunity, if someone else is in a better opportunity to score, please pass it on and, do that. Football is a team game. So, yes, he has scored some few goals and he's also assist, the team in winning games and performing better. Yes.
He's a tall lad too, I notice.
He's almost as tall as me.
And how old is he?
He's only 13.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, although he's tall, it's his feet that are his best attribute. It's not all about his aerial prowess. He's good with the ball on the floor. So
good.
Yes, and I think that was what the community trust was find out. I can't remember the female coach's name now, who had an injury. That was the first thing she told me, that, man, look at him on his feet. It's very good.
Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly. Kelly. Kelly said, wow, it's quite good on his feet, that he should keep it up. And, that also shows that there is an eye for detail in the community trust, which is good. And one more thing that is good about the community trust is that all talent level are accepted. You don't have to be an elite player, which is very, very good, which is what we don't really get around this Lewisham area. Okay, and that is quite nice to see at the community trust that all talents are welcome.
Yeah, I think Myles wants to touch on that with you.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Bob. Myles here. Good evening. You must be very proud of Nifemi, but what would you recommend to other parents interested in having their children joining the Millwall Community Trust Development Pathway?
Well, what I would say is what we did. Yes, of course, very, very proud of what he has achieved so far, especially when I got calls from his other coaches, from other clubs, saying, Bob, this is good, well done to Nifemi. You know, he brought it home to me that he has achieved something a little bit, tiny bit in his life so far, which is good. I'm proud of that. But what I would tell parents is, if it's Friday night, keep to it. Religiously attend those sessions, okay? Also, what we also do was we also attend midterm sessions at the Lion Center, okay? So that we are always around those coaches, because those are, academy level coaches at the community trust, training you, for future success. So why not take advantage of it? If you're going to pay those coaches on a one-on-one, it's going to cost a few bit, but you're getting it for almost free. All you buy is your boots and your own, bring your own kit, So I would tell parents religiously stick with the time schedule and make sure the kid is focused at all times. You don't know who's watching. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's some great stuff that you've mentioned there, Bob. And well, without a doubt, there's much going on through the trust and what they do with people of all skills and abilities, and it's fantastic, really. Anyhow, thanks both for joining us. I'd just like to ask Tim, can you let our listeners know what people need to do to join the scheme?
Yeah, if they head over to the website, there's a section on the Player Performance Pathway which has all the details and has my email address. So the way it runs is they come in for a 1 week trial. We see what levels they are, and then bring them in. But as Bob said, we're very keen to welcome all children, and also we're not doing it to make money. We're doing it to try and identify talent for Millwall. So there's a lot of these sort of private companies out there who do it for a living and a pound note, but we're very keen that we just want to help talented young players get that chance to get into the academy, like Nifemi. Obviously we try and help as much as we can, but obviously the kids have the natural talent anyway, so we just help them with certain aspects and then try and get them through where we can, but being realistic that there are levels involved in that.
Yeah. No, I can fully commit to your view. There's some ruthless companies out there. A neighbour's son went to one that I won't name, paid £1,500 so that he could get in front of talent spotters, and he asked me to go along, and I tried to work out who the talent spotters were, and I couldn't. But it's awful, absolutely awful.
Exactly, and that's what we don't want to be, No. That's why we are a community trust,
That's right. That's right. So the last job before you leave us is a tradition. Tim, Stoke City v Millwall on Saturday. Prediction, please.
As long as all the boys are fit and firing, I think we'll be all right. I think it'll be, if Bradshaw's fit and firing, I think we're looking at a 2-0. If he ain't, I think we'll still nick a 1-0 anyway. Okay,
let's be hopeful with that. Bob, how about you? What do you think?
We had that discussion with Nifemi earlier before he came on. Guess what? He said 2-0 as well.
Did he?
See, great minds, Bob.
Him and Tim must be on the same wavelength.
That's it.
I think so. Anyhow, look, thanks both for joining us this evening. We'll keep an eye out for Nifemi, and hopefully he will grace the den with his talent in due course.
Amen.
Bob, all the best to Nifemi, you and your family. Tim, thanks once again for joining us, and thanks for putting up with my voice once again. But what a story that dreams are made of from the magnificent Millwall Community Trust, or as Stan would say, the crown jewels of Millwall. Just see what they can do for so many. Bye, Bob and Tim.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye-bye. See you,
Bye.
Bob.
Bye.
Cheers, Bob. Thanks, Tim.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Well, what a story, eh? A fair old pair of feet on him, as Kelly would say, and he's not short in coming forward. He's tall. Well, let's hope we do see him come through. It'd be wonderful. And a great credit to the Community Trust. But that's about 13 now that have gone through for trials. So that's really good to hear. Anyway, we're going to take a break there, and we're going to listen to Debbie Julians talking about the Lions Food Hub with that one and only Harvey Brown.
Let's hear from Harvey Brown.
Have you heard of the Lions Food Hub? That Millwall Lioness, Kelly Webster, is involved. Don't forget to help the Lions Food Hub if you can. Thank you.
As Harvey said, they need your support. If you can help, and you can make a one-off or a regular monetary donation at Banquet, that is BANKUET. You will find them online. Insert www.banquet.co.uk/Lions Food Hub into your browser. I'll say that again. www.banquet.co.uk/Lions Food Hub. And the Lions Food Hub is all one word. On match days, you can make food and toiletry donations at the Lions Food Hub, which is opposite the 1885 bar at the Cold Blow Lane end of the ground. Alternatively, you can also contact the team via the Lions Food Hub Twitter or Facebook sites.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have no one likes a talking team of Dave Hart, Stan Godwin and Myles Thornton. More than 2 years have passed since the Lions Food Hub came into being, which for us was a bittersweet celebration. Did we really foresee food hubs becoming a permanent fixture in the 21st century? Well, no, but it pretty much seems as if they are. Nonetheless, Kelly and Ellen Webster, all the hubs, the team, their sponsors, and those that donate are making such a difference in supporting those that are at risk. You can help them, if you can, as the country sadly remains in recession. We're all looking forward to when Saturday comes, but in the meantime, here are a few matters of interest for Millwall fans.
An evening with Roy Lana, hosted by Jeff Burnige at the Lions Centre in Ballina Road, SE16, takes place on Tuesday, the 14th of March from 5:30pm. The Lion of London Bridge books will be available to purchase, and Roy will sign books ahead of the main event at 6:15. The event will finish at 7:15 ahead of Millwall's game against Swansea City to allow fans to get to their seats. Light refreshments and snacks will be available from Harvey's Den Cafe within the event venue. Entry can be gained by booking in advance and making a donation on the night to the Harvey Brown MPS Society, who support families with MPS and similar disorders that cause a range of progressive disabilities. Book now by emailing kbennett@millwallcommunity.org.uk. I'll do that again, k.bennett@millwallcommunity.org.uk. to reserve your seat. Ticket availability is limited.
Next Friday, Eamonn is our host with the panel of Dave, Ted and Myles. There will be a couple of guests and a review of the Stoke and Luton games and what is coming up. Additionally, Dockers Day will return for the first time since 2019 for our game against Huddersfield Town at the Den on Saturday the 18th of March. And despite the rail strike, Chris Bethel will go ahead with the event. Our Phil Coleman will be there with his teammates of the FA Youth Cup winning side of 1978 and 79 to meet and greet the Dockers. Former Dockers from the London Docks had a great tradition in following Millwall. Will be our guests on the day. Watch out for further details.
You heard from our sponsored Lionesses, Jade Keogh and Grace Seeley at the beginning of the show, so why not sponsor a Lionesses kit like us to help them get back to where they belong? If you are an organisation, you can get fantastic exposure opportunities for your business, just like Victory Goalkeeper Gloves, Andy Rothery, Impetus Women's Football, Megan J. and Lola Baxter, Gianluca Sardi, and as mentioned, ourselves. On top of seeing your name on the club website, you will be able to enjoy a range of benefits: signed shirt, meet your sponsor player, 3 invitations to a VIP sponsor day, a free season ticket to all home games, and a presentation photo. Kit sponsorship is priced at £160 plus VAT. To purchase, get in touch with the Lionesses by emailing Kelly Webster on kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk. I'll say that again, kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk.
Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking team, bring reports from our games, both home and away, for both the Lions and Lionesses, and also updates on Millwall community matters too on Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM or on their website. Additionally, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, Tumblr and Twitter social media sites and all popular podcast sites. Thanks and good night, Dave.
Good night, all.
Thanks and good night, Stan.
Yeah, good night, all.
And thanks and good night, Myles.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Good night and many thanks for listening to the No One Likes Us Talking team.